Hey guys, it's TF Nut. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This is going to be of the one-shot toys Spirit Fox Reborn, aka Kurama from Yu Yu Hakusho. They can't officially call it that, but hey, we all know who it is. If you're familiar with Yu Yu Hakusho, I really like the show. I'm not done yet, but I am almost done. I have like 30 episodes left. I just kind of fell off at one point when I got really busy. I need to get back into it. Kurama is freaking awesome. Love this character. I hope Kuwabara comes out hopefully soon, and then we have no word on Hiei from this company for the 1/12 scale one-shot toy stuff. I really hope that they will eventually make Hiei so we can round out the team. Anyway, just give me a quick look at the packaging here. Top half, you can see the figure and the bottom of the contents there. Looking really good with nice red and black and white colors. Bottom half here, a side silhouetted profile of Kurama one-shot toys 1/12 scale collectible action figure. On this side just says Spirit Fox Reborn OS002 towards the bottom there. Pretty much the same thing on this side as well. There's not really much on the top, but when we look on the bottom here, you can see we do have pretty much the same thing that we saw on one of the sides. Spirit Fox Detective OS002, as well as here is a wide shot of the back of the packaging showing out pretty much a blacked out image of Kurama with the rose wib, ages 15 and up. Let's go ahead and get this figure out of the packaging. First and foremost, I'm very late to this review. As a lot of you know, I'm doing Anime Week here. I have no idea if this thing is still available where I got it from, which is China Model Toys. I'll hopefully have links down in the description below where you can get this if you still need it. But first impressions, I gotta be honest, it's a little rough looking. I thought the original prototypes looked pretty good for this guy, and then when some images came out closer to release, earlier this year or late last year, this figure started to look even rougher, which I was like, oh boy. But I saw it through. I decided to get it. It's not that bad looking in person, but I don't know. There's something about it I think looks a little off. It has a lot of great accessories, though, so let's go ahead and take a look at those, then we'll take a closer look at the figure. Here is the instruction booklet that comes with this figure. It's very important that you take a look at this one in particular, because since this has soft goods, it tells you where some of the joints exactly are, as well as some of the different accessories and how to, properly interchange them, as well as, making sure you don't break your figure, basically. Other than that, here are some of the accessories that you see here, a bunch of different faces, hands, as well as the rose whip and a couple other accessories. First of all, I want to talk about this base. Very similar to Yusuke's, it has the nice side silhouette profile of Kurama. See the rose petals right there. It's mostly just a matte black base. This is actually really nice. There's 4 different holes for porting in. My thumb already smudged this somehow. I don't really know. But that's what the back looks like. And then this is the adjustable neck system that comes with that. So it's cool that we get this base just like how we got with Yusuke. Yusuke's is very similar with the side profile too. You have some clamping of the bending inward like this, swiveling here, hinging. You can kind of swivel, except, these are in hexagonal shapes, so this actually won't really swivel. You're going to have to pop this out. And actually, never mind, I'm wrong. You can swivel it pretty easily, even though it has a hexagonal shape. Gotta love when my camera dies. Anyway, here are the rest of the accessories. We're going to the faces first. I actually really like how they're all painted and detailed. The printing on the eyes is really nice. I think they did a really good job with some different colors going on in the green, in the pupils, the light shining into the pupils, I should say, if I could speak. The color on the eyebrows is nice, and on this face is an angry gritting teeth face, and there's no paint splotches, so the teeth are very nicely painted on here. I guess one reason why I think this looks weird is just seeing these. The forehead is super wide, but super long too, but the hair is going to be mostly covering that. There's a smirking face looking off to the side. Again, very nice paint. There's even some lines underneath his eyes right there. Looking really good. The sculpting on the ears is also pretty decent. And then here are some closed eyes. Some nice long eyelashes there. So all those look really nice. For the hands, we have these sprawled out finger hands, mostly for doing certain action poses. Camera's a little bright, so you can't see it too well, but there is, I think, a little bit of some fingernails sculpted on here. But this is mostly just, you know, there's a little, I think a little bit of like skin tone paint on here, but there's not much detail in like the palms or the knuckles or anything like that. And we have these more clenched hands, which are also for action poses. These relaxed hands. I think some of these hands are used for Yusuke as well, because I believe Yusuke's like flat hands, like relaxed hands here, have a separation with the index finger and the rest of the fingers. Now, one thing that's weird is that I don't know how well this is going to pick up on camera. This left hand is consistent with the other hands with how the skin tone is done, but then this hand here looks like they added like an extra like coat of paint to it. So this one looks a little shinier than this and looks a lot more matte and hand painted. So I don't know what's going on here. I don't think it's going to pick up too well on camera, but you can see, just the fingernails better on here than this, and that's the biggest thing that will tell the difference. Also, it looks like a darker shade in the skin tone. So that's just really weird that this happened. We do have an alternate right hand that has a small hole in there with the thumb sticking out. That's for the soft plastic rose, which really nice details on the petals here. The red is really nicely painted, as well as the green is pretty nicely painted too. And then this is a softer plastic, so you're not going to need to worry too much about breaking that. The Mirror of Darkness, which I believe was in some of the earlier episodes when we first were introduced to him. I really like this sculpted string, basically. And then we do have mostly dark green with a little bit of light green. It does look like it was a little too sloppy. You see some of this here. There's just black for the mirror. There's not much going on in the back. Last thing I want to talk about is how cool the rose whip is. I really dig this. This thing is really cool. It has a really nice bendy wire. This thing's like twice the length of the figure too. I think the bendy wire is what really makes this thing super special. And there are some thorns on here. They're not super duper sharp. They are a little prickly, so it's a little uncomfortable to mess around sometimes, but they're not going to hurt you by any means. The tip here, and then there's the handle. Again, this is just a really nice accessory. Let's see if I can even find an image of the figure before 2022. I think prototypes dropped, the images for the prototypes dropped in 2021, and then they updated it, and some along the way it just stopped looking good to me. I don't know. This thing doesn't look god awful. I just think there's something about it that still is just like it's a little off to me. I think the hair is good though. I think the hair looks really good. So let's just jump right into it. First of all, we have the two different hair parts, which I'm not really a big fan of how they're doing this. This is an entirely separate piece that actually, if you pop the head off, you drape this around the neck, and you pop the head back on. It's supposed to swivel basically, and I mean, it blends in there because it's the same color, but I get what they were trying to do with this. I'm not entirely sure if I'm a fan of this. I don't think it would be any less weird if it was articulated here like certain imports figures. There's it seems like a slight black wash in parts of the red in the hair. Everything else is mostly molded, but sculpted pretty well with red. Some red paint going on there, and this is the neutral face that this figure came packaged with, and I think the neutral expression actually looks really good. So again, something a little bit looks like something with the mouth that's a little bit crooked, but I think it looks fine mostly, and the eyes I think are really good. I think maybe the face might be a little too wide. I think that's what's making me realize something's off here. But most of this figure's details are covered all by the suit, and from my understanding, I really can't raise this up that far. I have Yusuke here, and I have taken off his outfit, and you can actually see some of the, how some of this figure looks a little bit better here. Feeling this, I think they might be using. No, I was gonna say they use the same body, but Kurama's arms, I believe, are a little longer than Yusuke's. And I found some cloth goods on eBay. I'll leave a link down in the description below. If you own this figure and you could take the clothes off, I use this to make it look like the Dark Tournament look. I need the arc after that with Sensui. I need some clothes for that version of Yusuke as well. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is that Yusuke's clothes are connected with magnets, so that can pop off, and you can take off that jacket. This is all. If I start pulling, something's gonna break. This is all stitched together. I'm fairly certain. Which means if you want to take this jacket off, you're gonna have to cut all the way down here and then switch it. And I wish this came with some alternate clothes where the later look for him, mostly from what I can remember, the Dark Tournament arc later on, I really like that look for Kurama. Not that I don't like this look, but alternate clothes would have made this a little bit better. This was like a $60 to $65 figure though. Again, there's really not much I can talk about with the rest of the body because it's covered by soft goods. I like how the purple comes through. I think it looks good. It starts when you bend it in a certain way for a long time. It starts to actually wrinkle up pretty badly though. Unfortunately, you have some nice yellow going in there. So I think that they were able to mix in different fabrics pretty well. You can see underneath how all this looks with some of the stitching and how they achieved some of this. And these are the fists that this figure comes packaged with. Now we get down to the pants, which are, I believe, a separate piece. Like Yusuke, I think there's actually some belt holes in here, but I think Yusuke's pants and shirt were connected by one single thread, and then you just cut that thread and then take off all the clothes on Yusuke and switch them out, which really wasn't that big of a deal to begin with when it comes to disconnecting that one thread. He does have pockets here. From my understanding, these pockets, they're functioning pockets just like Yusuke's. And that's one thing I guess I can bring out. I have Yusuke's separate pants right here. I don't think they're the exact same type of stitching. So I guess I'm not really sure what's going on with Kurama's proportions. I guess his arms are longer, but his legs are shorter. Or this could all just be Yusuke's pants looking too baggy. Either way, I don't think these are the exact same kind of. I mean, I don't think any of these clothes. They all have to be hand sewn. So there's going to be some differences when it comes to how things are done here and there. Actually, his waist is up pretty far. I can push that up a little bit up here. You can kind of see how the ribs look in the body. These pants are actually the same length on Kurama, I believe, compared to Yusuke. He just doesn't have a belt because you have this the shirt covering that, and now that's wrinkled. So that's my biggest problem with the cloth goods is that they wrinkle really, really easily. And it then, I'm talking about small wrinkles, like going up in here to where it just looks not clean, unfortunately. The stitching overall and some of the just is really nice, but it doesn't really have any patterning, which is fine because it's clothes. Their clothes don't have the most extravagant designs, but the shoes, I don't think these are reused from Yusuke's. I have Yusuke again right here. If they are, that'll be interesting. They are exactly the same sculpt. Never mind. I don't really blame them for using those. I'm wondering if you can pop off the ankles here, and I'm not going to attempt that right now because the ankles on Yusuke pop off, but they do actually have some nice treading on the bottom of the shoe, and then that's what the top of the feet look like. Again, so I wasn't really able to show off much of this figure just because it's mostly covered by soft goods. I do think that this neck piece covers the neck a little too much. Now, because of soft goods, some of these figures can be hindered with the articulation. Well, from my understanding, there is a ball peg going into the head and there's articulation going into the chest. This allows for motion to go forward like this all the way down, which actually looks really good. And the hairs are long, but it can look up pretty decently. I think it shifts somewhere to where it allows the character to look up a bit. Forgot to mention, you pop off the hair right there, and then you can pop on the faces. swiveling just fine. It's a little bit loose, I think, and then we have a little bit of tilting. So we actually get a really good range of motion. The hair, we do have butterfly joints going forward and back, a little bit hindered again. Like right here at the armpit, it gets a little hindered. Arms can go all the way around, but again, the clothes restrict it. Upper arm swivel in here. And I think I already talked about some of the hinging and swiveling. We also have double jointed elbows, which I think is a better bend to the bottom part of the elbow compared to the top. Swivel at the wrist, hinge at the wrist, and then you can swivel this around and it can go up and down just like SH Figure Arts. We have two different areas of ball joints at the waist, and actually really good ball joints all the way around, I believe. So forward's really good, back's pretty decent, side to side could be better, and then we have swiveling, which I don't want to accidentally rip the stitches here. But then we get to forward, which it kicks almost all the way out, but the pants kind of restricted again. The back could be better. These perfect splits are not going to be perfect because of the pants. You have upper thigh swivel though. We have a double jointed knee. No other articulation at the calf, so we do have an ankle swivel hinge, which is really tight on mine. You see all those metal pegs. That's one thing. I wish they were, a consistent skin tone. We do have ankle rockers though, and then the toe hinges are usually really tight on these figures, but this one was pretty loose on mine. Not super duper loose, like loose to where that's a comfortable loose. Size comparisons right next to on the right. That is also the one-shot toys Yusuke I brought out earlier. I'm realizing those hips look really wide because of how those pants were made from the eBay seller, but you can see that they're about the same height. They fit pretty well in scale with each other. SH Figure Arts figures aren't actually 1/12 scale, but they're pretty close, and you can see the new Naruto next to the Yu Yu Hakusho figures. Over on the far left, Black Suit Spider-Man. Far right, first version of Black Series Mando. You can see that the Mando's a little bit shorter than the 1/12 figures, but both of those figures are going to be a little bit shorter than Spider-Man. Overall, I'm a bit conflicted on this figure. I think that the accessories really shine with this figure here for it being an unofficial release, especially the bendy wire rose whip. I think that is such a cool touch. Everything else that this figure comes with, even though there's some inconsistent paint going on with one pair of hands on my figure, I think that they are really good accessories. The only thing is just how the figure looks. There's something about it. I don't know what it is. It's bugging me. But if I can't point it out exactly right now, I'm not gonna knock the figure too much for it. What I can say is that I'm just a little disappointed there's not really great options for removing the clothes on this figure without basically permanently. I mean, you could restitch it, but it wouldn't look as good probably. Not like how Yusuke has options to remove his clothes pretty easily. I wish that we just had some alternate clothes for Kurama, because this look is good, but his later look is also pretty sick. It's a decent figure, I don't hate it. I don't think I regret the 60 to 65 bucks I got for this figure, but hopefully if I have the rest of the team in figure form from One Shot Toys, it would make me like this figure a little bit more. But for now, I think it's just kind of a weird figure that I don't really know how to feel about, if I'm being honest. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.